Welcome to Brainstorming. I'm Anna Tizard, award-winning dreampunk and deeply weird fantasy author, and yes, that's me and my fiction that's deeply weird. Explore and imagine with me the most unexpected story ideas using the surrealist word game of Exquisite Corpse. Find out more and join in at annatizard.com. Hello imaginative people, I'm Anna Tizard and this is episode 113 of Brainstorm. Well, since the change to a new, shorter format, I've received some lovely comments from listeners that I just have to share. Very quickly, of course, it would be rather silly if I took a lot of time over that. Paul Thomas said, "We really liked it. A good flow to the episode. It felt great to get straight into the main event and have a bit more of your storytelling in it." I appreciate that because, of course, I'm doing a little bit of scene drafting now in the story brainstorms, which I really miss doing. Nick Vrekar agreed that it makes more sense for the focus of the show to come first, with the occasional update beforehand. And Elena Dennison said, "Love the new podcast format. It's the perfect length for my morning thinking walks," which was lovely to hear. So thank you everyone for the feedback. It's always great to hear from listeners, and especially reassuring in this case because this is how I'm going to do the show from now on. One final quick quote before we dive into the games. Edamame Makers on Blue Sky, who run their own word game, commented on how this show works and said that mixing listeners' word suggestions into prompts is half improv, half séance. I never thought of it that way, but now I can't stop thinking of it in that way. Hence the title of this episode. So, now let us join minds across the tabletop of reality and connect our intentions. It is time to reach beyond the confines of logic and sensible thinking and enter a place where your words gain a new power in unexpected combinations. A place that can only be reached through the socks of destiny. That's right, Exquisite Corpse mixes your words and phrases into a sentence that goes describing word noun, action, describing word noun. For more information, go to annatizard.com and have a look at the how, why page. So let's see what we have got in the describing word sock today. I have a whole clump that are stuck together somehow. Right, this is from Alessandro Bozzo, Fearless. Okay, let's try a noun. Who or what was fearless? This is from Paul Thomas. Hag. Okay. Let's try for an action. This is from Raymond B. Steinmetz. Keeps returning to. Let's see. Who or what that would be. Another describing word, which is from Paul Monteith. Pugnacious. So that's quick to argue. Strange kind of person to keep returning to, but there's clearly an argument going on here between a hag and, let's get our final noun. This is from Anonymous. Oh, politician. Okay. So altogether we have the fearless hag keeps returning to the pugnacious politician. This feels very contemporary fantasy, in my mind anyway, because you've got I mean, the politician roots us in this world, and then the hag injects a fantasy element into it. I mean, politicians generally are argumentative. In a way, you'd never go into politics if you didn't enjoy a good debate and arguing with people. But why does this fearless hag keep returning to an argumentative politician? Does she like a good argument too? What makes her fearless? Is she looking for representation of people, creatures who nowadays are living cheek by jowl with so-called normal people? Is this a version of our world where fairy tale beings have been proliferating quietly in the background, but have now become so common and so necessary to the economy and the general ticking over of ordinary modern life that it's now time? We've reached the point where their existence must be acknowledged. And more than that, hags have rights, as do trolls, fairies, pixies and the rest. Let's not be speciesist. Well, that certainly presents an opening for a story, or a way in to a story. You could try writing a scene where this hag shows up at a politician's office for the umpteenth time, badgering him or her to respond to her many, many emails and letters and phone calls, and then just see where it takes you. I mean, what sort of rights in particular is she looking to protect or introduce? And you might find as you write that these kind of things will start to present themselves to you through the magic of discovery writing, so that you will realise the reason why the fearless hag keeps returning to the pugnacious politician. Did that one make a little bit too much sense? I'm going to delve very deep into this describing word sock and see what I can find. This is from Sean, also known as Blue Wizard Facts. Soggy. Okay. Seems a very physical description. Let's see, what have I got noun-wise? This is from Third and Long, Chief's poet and songwriter. Ooh, Minotaur. A soggy Minotaur. Okay, let's try for an action. This is from Paul Thomas. Was betrayed by. I'm wondering if this has anything to do with the sogginess. Could those be tears making him soggy? Next describing word is from Alessandro Bozzo. Idealistic. Fancy being betrayed by someone who is idealistic. Final word. Let's see who this is from. Oh, I've got two stuck together. What's it going to be? The hands of fate. No, just my hand. This is from VJ Wild. Firefly? What? Okay, I should never have complained. The last one made too much sense. What was I thinking? So altogether we have the soggy Minotaur was betrayed by the idealistic firefly. Okay, I think it's time to pour some green tea because this has been brewing for a little while now. I don't want it to overbrew. Okay, so once more with feeling, the soggy Minotaur was betrayed by the idealistic firefly. Well, first of all, we don't have to take everything literally, and we don't have to take into account everything all at once. So let's just break it down and look at associations first. A minotaur, it makes me think about a labyrinth. It's a frightening creature at the centre that you're meant to go and kill. But then anything presented as evil like that, why not flip it and ask, what has the Minotaur really done to earn the reputation of being evil? Might this be based on lies and gossip? Actually, a bit like the hag situation, maybe that's what's got me thinking along these lines, because she's the protagonist, she's the one who feels wronged. So this is a stance that you could begin with to humanise, I suppose, an otherwise evil-seeming being, or something that we just assume to be evil because of fairy tales or whatever, to find a character that we can root for unexpectedly. And you know I like the unexpected. I have the unexpected for breakfast. But then being betrayed by fireflies. Oh, I see. What if the Minotaur is hiding, cowering in this labyrinth in the long shadows? Maybe it's a maze made of hedges in the usual way, and at a big party thrown for a young, arrogant prince or princess, they've begged their parents, the king and queen, for a bit of a game for their party in their vast back garden, a cruel hunting game where the prize is the chance to kill a worthless slave of a Minotaur, whom they've released from prison for this rather diabolical form of execution, for fun. That's a pretty grim idea. Is the Minotaur innocent then? Will you keep your readers guessing this as you write about the haughty prince and his pals closing in on the Minotaur in the middle of this confusing, disorientating maze, and then, just when he might seem to have a chance to escape execution, fireflies appear and betray his hiding place with their glowing fluttering. And he's hiding inside a koi pond, breathing through a thin reed. And that may be how the soggy Minotaur was betrayed by the idealistic firefly. Well, I'm not sure about the idealistic part, and it probably have to be plural fireflies, but still, you see where I'm going with this. It has created an image. Right, third and final, Exquisite Corpse. Let's just see where this one takes us. First word is from... Ooh, everything's just got stuck together all of a sudden. Oops, okay, one's just pinged out over my hand, so I'm going to take that. This is from Eric Montgomery. Expensive. Okay, let's try for a noun. This is from P.S. Conway. Welcome to the game. Storm clouds. Expensive storm clouds. Okay, so I wasn't expecting that word combination, but let's just see what happens here. With an action from Rachel Arms McLaughlin. Welcome to the game also, Rachel. Understands. Okay. Another describing word. Oops. Oh, one has fallen out onto the floor. So I'm going to go with that one. I don't know why they're clumping up so much. This one is from Paul Thomas. Delirious. Okay. Final word. Let it be a good one. From Sean, also known as Blue Wizard Facts. Shadow. Whoa. A delirious shadow? Altogether we have the expensive storm clouds understand the delirious shadow. This is the most surreal I think we've had today. How can a storm cloud be expensive? That would mean you could buy one. And a delirious shadow must surely be someone who's been turned into a shadow and is experiencing extreme confusion, desperate to try and process this, but just unable to. But then for a cloud to understand that, I'm not sure if it's possible to put this one together as one, like make the whole sentence make sense as one sentence. So do you know what? I'm going to use the dice. My 12-sided dice. If you want to see the categories of suggestion, then just have a look at the show notes. Let's just see what this means. 11. A ghost. Well, I mean, that makes sense for the delirious shadow. That's kind of where I was going in my mind. But then the dice is sort of pointing us in that direction as what to focus on. So the delirious shadow is a ghost, but that's still not quite telling me what to do with that. Do you know what? I'm going to roll again. And ask, what does, I mean, it's not a real character. I'm not delirious, okay? I just want to see what suggestion the dice has for the expensive storm clouds. Just see if this offers any idea. Oops. 11? No ways. So, 2 ghosts? One understands the other, according to this exquisite corpse. An expensive storm cloud understands the delirious shadow. Is that a way? So expensive storm cloud, is that a way of saying that the person who died, whose ghost this is, had a lot of money? Is it possible that when they died, they were able to negotiate an afterlife as a ghost? But more than a ghost who gets to travel, who flies above the earth, hovers above the earth, very serene. But this is a tricksy bargain they've made with the angel of death, because they didn't realise it was a storm cloud that they were going to become. The angel just said cloud. But as a storm cloud, this rich person who spent a lifetime getting their way, using money to influence and buy their way into anything that they wanted, they are now doomed to occasionally split and rain down on the ground. So it's a strange kind of afterlife. Not just a serene floating over everything like they were expecting, but this cyclical pattern that they can't escape from. They're actually trapped in it now, being dashed onto the ground from time to time in the form of rain when the pressure gets too much, or maybe hail. But in one street they land in, they'll come across a much unhappier ghost, far more disturbed, a delirious shadow. And that could be the beginning of how the expensive storm cloud understands the delirious shadow. I like this one. I'm going to use the pause button for this one very quickly. She crashed to the ground in pieces. Never could she believe that an important person like her, someone with class, money, connections, could end up like this, broken on the dirty pavement. She screamed, but no sound came out. Nothing but the rush and patter of rain filled her ears. Did she even have ears? She lay, unable to move, letting the water drum its haphazard pattern on her back, into her very soul. Grief swelled into a puddle. With each flash of lightning came a memory, fluttering its light show inside her. The handsome young man flirting with her at the party. The glass he handed her, the wine's rich cherry flavour, but with a slight bitter edge as it flowed down her throat. Next minute, choking, her vision blurring as she fought to breathe, hit her knee against the leg of the table as she collapsed, gasping, so loud that her gasp was the only sound in the world until the screams around her let rip. Then, nothing. At the feet of the angel of death, she cowered, moaning, "It's not fair. I was poisoned." "What is your greatest regret?" The voice flowed like wind soaring through the mountains. "Being poisoned!" she shrieked, daring to glance upward into the empty space under the hood where a face should be. A pause before the angel asked again, quieter this time, as if to imply she should speak lower too. "What is your greatest regret?" "Well, I'm so young. I've never really done anything. I've never travelled." She sat up, gathering herself. "I've never been anywhere, or seen anything." "Then you shall travel. You shall see as a cloud sees and rove across the sky." But the angel of death never mentioned a storm cloud or where Henrietta, for that was once her name, would fall. So that could be how you get an expensive storm cloud. But how about her understanding the delirious shadow? I think the dice was right. There must be more than one haunting wherever she's landed on this particular street. But you could have fun with this idea as well. It doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. Once she gets into it, she could rain on a festival, running people's makeup. Or she could rain on some marathon runners and cool them off. Something like that. I've never really imagined what it would be like to be rain. I wonder where that might go. I might need to reserve some daydreaming time for this. Right, well, I had some great responses to the prompts from the previous show. I know I said I'm going to try and stick to just 3 short stories per show, but I did get some very short responses as well, just some 1 or 2 liners describing ideas, which of course you're always welcome to send. And it means I can squeeze in just that little bit more without making the show too long. Most of the responses were on the weird word combination that came up, the electric scar. Elena Dennison said, "The electric scar is a tattoo parlour, methinks, or a monthly magazine for tattoo aficionados, or a prog rock band maybe. These work so well. I'm looking at them thinking, why didn't I think of these? It's just so perfect. And if it was, if the electric scar was a tattoo parlour, maybe they do special tattoos that give you magical powers? I mean, what could you do with that?" TWAMD on Blue Sky said, "A scar that still carries current is infrastructure. Technically, somewhere a council is responsible for it and hoping nobody writes in." They added, "I picture someone who can feel the streetlights come on." Very peculiar idea. Thank you for that. Patrick Towie wrote, "Imagine someone who was burned by electricity, leaving them with scars on their hands. Scars that can shoot out electricity." Well, that could definitely work as a sort of superhero fantasy, or, dark fantasy where people wielding different powers. Interesting, thank you. And moving on to the short stories, Paul Macmillan wrote a story entitled The 13th Legion. The Sacred Order believed God had abandoned the earth, so they built their own miracles. The result was Scar-E, an electric battle rifle powered by a miniature storm imprisoned inside a crystalline heart. Its bolts punched through armour, stone and flesh, leaving only scorched shadows behind. For a time it worked. The demons retreated and humanity celebrated. Then the rifles began choosing their owners. Each weapon bonded to a single soul, refusing every other hand. Those chosen became legendary killers, but every victory stripped away another piece of their humanity. Their eyes glowed with cold blue light, and their sweat carried the scent of ozone. They no longer said their prayers before battle, for they could no longer remember the words. The thunder imprisoned within the rifles had begun whispering in forgotten tongues, promising victory at the price of mercy. Families no longer recognized the men beneath the armour, and even the demons learned to fear the silent march of the 13th Legion. They saved mankind from hell, only to become the next generation of monsters destined to rule it. My goodness, this is deep and dark, and there's so much going on. I feel like you've encapsulated an entire book somehow in just like a short space. Thank you, Paul. That's pretty amazing. Please write it and we'll read it. You can find Paul Macmillan on X as Bookmarks, Love and Lore. Nick Vrekar wrote in, also on the electric scar. She was done hiding. She would be vibrant now, electric. Her wounds were gone, but the scars were still there, driving her forward. She had to be seen to make it work, and that meant shelving the old cloak. It didn't get attention as much as it pushed it away. As she closed the drawer, she knew her old life was dead. Wow. So this is a sort of a glimpse into something. It feels like a pivotal moment for this character, with some intriguing hints as to what's going on and what's going to happen. This is, of course, combining the electric scar with the enlightened invisibility cloak, which also came up in the very same Exquisite Corpse in the last show. Thank you, Nick. This has a real and urgent atmosphere about it. You can find Nick's fiction and articles at nvrekar.wordpress.com. And finally, Mark West wrote a short story based on The Remorseful Familiar. The Witch's Familiar was a raven consumed by remorse. Not for hexes, you understand. Those were contractual. The raven felt terrible about everything else. It was inconsolable after knocking over a potion bottle. It apologised to broomsticks for perching on them. It once wrote a heartfelt letter to a cauldron after accidentally scratching the enamel. The cauldron never replied, much to the raven's utter heartbreak. The witch found the constant apologising utterly exhausting. "You're supposed to be an omen of darkness," the witch said, exasperated. "I know," replied the raven. "I just don't want us to seem unapproachable." The witch silently resolved never to order familiars online again. One evening, a furious mob arrived with torches. The raven greeted them at the gate. "I'm terribly sorry she's turned the Smith family into decorative lamps. In fairness, they did make some rather hurtful remarks about her personal hygiene." The villagers looked at one another. "She also asked me to mention the spell wears off by Tuesday." They thanked the raven and went home. The witch stared in disbelief. "You've completely undermined centuries of terrifying reputation." The raven lowered its head, crestfallen. "I'm so terribly, terribly sorry." "I know," screamed the witch. "That's the problem." Unfortunately, the raven's employment contract contained no cooling off period. Oh, this is just so funny. Actually, what struck me as I was reading this is that there are a lot of punchlines, a lot of punchy punchlines. In fact, there are several places where you could have actually ended the story as an even shorter piece because it was such a good punchline. Interesting. I don't see that very often. It must be part of your talent for humorous writing. So thank you, Mark West. You can find Mark on X as 2112Westy. And thank you to everyone who sent in ideas and comments as well. You've all helped to make this show a vibrant, creative place to be. Okay, so what can I tempt you with this time? An expensive storm cloud? What's that all about? Or the delirious shadow? Now that is an intriguing one. Or you might want to tell me why the fearless hag was fearless, or how the soggy minotaur was betrayed. Can you imagine his muzzle sticking out from his shadowy hiding place, dripping with rain? Or is it tears that have made him soggy? You know what to do. Hit the submit button at annatizard.com with a maximum 250 word story, scene or poem. Or just send me a quick one-liner or a two-liner, just a description of what your interpretation might be. Remember, to be included in the next show, I'll need your submission by end of day Friday. That's just 1 week after the release of this show. Send in something later and I'll just review it for the show after that. But before you go, how about a publishing opportunity? Because once you get writing, you never know, it might develop and turn into something longer and meatier. The Forge Literary Magazine has a monthly submission window for diverse fiction and non-fiction, including flash and micro work. And they just keep it open until their 200 submission quota is reached. Work that's under 3,000 words is preferred, with an absolute maximum of 3,500 words. Payment is $100 per accepted piece. Simultaneous submissions are encouraged, but please no reprints. So if you've published it elsewhere, they won't be interested. For more information, go to forgelitmag.com/submit. As usual, always run a check on Google to find reviews and comments of any publisher you're thinking of submitting to. And of course, read the terms and conditions of publication to ensure they suit you. And don't forget to let me know the moment you have an Exquisite Corpse inspired story or poem published anywhere, so I can share this on Brainstorming Emporium and give you an extra shout out on the show so other listeners and folks online can find you and your story. Until next time, go forth and be inspired. I hope you enjoyed today's Brainstorming. You can find out more about Exquisite Corpse and my series, The Book of Exquisite Corpse, at annatizard.com. Subscribe to my e-newsletter and you'll get volume 1 for free. And while you're there, why not submit a few words to the Socks of Destiny on my play page? You may inspire me or inspire yourself to write a unique new story. See you next time.